Hello and welcome everyone to the Tarot with Titania reading of the week for April 9th to 16th. Let's set the intention and get down to it. Creator, this is your daughter Titania, and I'm here to do a reading for the highest and greatest benefit of everyone who is listening. My intention is to be a clear channel for the information that is most needed right now, and to provide that in a manner that will be easily and effortlessly heard, understood, and integrated for the highest and greatest benefit of anyone who is listening now and in the future. I call upon my higher self and the higher selves of all those listening, as well as an overlighting angel of communication to facilitate this exchange and ensure that we cover everything that is in the hearts and minds of those who are listening in, so that we can all be grounded, centered, and powerful in our co-creative time here on the planet in our human form. I call upon the four archangels now to come and hold the four directions around us, creating a sacred container of light, of love, of clarity, of wisdom, of empowerment, of healing, of transformation, of anything that is in our collective heart and mind at this time. Thank you, Raphael, for holding the east, Michael for holding the south, Gabriel for holding the west, and Uriel for holding the north. So grateful you are here with us across time and space, creating a sacred container of good stuff. Anything that doesn't match these frequencies and intentions of light, of love, of clarity, of empowerment, of healing, of transformation, of fast forward momentum is welcome to go now. So our intention for this reading is to bring through the information that we most need to know right now for the week ahead. What do we need to know about this week to be empowered, effective, uplifted, and transformed in good ways for our collective, for our personal and collective greater good? Okay. So, starting with the recent past, influence continues but is waning. We have the card of victory, the Six of Wands. This is about this emerging energy on the creative and expressed level, and the successes that come from being in this energy and being in this field and creating and generating something new and different. And that could be artistic, musical, it could be creating something, a business idea, a garden, anything that involves the individual applying their energy, their focus, their intention to something, a project externally, and the cultivating of something and the success that comes when we engage with co-creating with our life and environment. So this energy of victory, these successes, these small successes that mean so much to us, that build our confidence, that transform who we are part of the picture for this week. This idea of where have we come from? Where have we succeeded? Where have we had victory in our life? And drawing on that to inform us into our present and into our future. Because we live in a vibrational universe, the more we're able to tap into high frequency vibration, the easier it is for us to exist in that state and then to pull more into our field from that place. Okay, in the present, we have the card of protection, or the Ten of Pentacles. This is often related to the idea of legacy. We have the man and a woman here in fancy dress from the past, underneath this castle-like structure. There are roses in the corners, which symbolize loving care of property, of legacy, of things being cared for now for the future, cared with the thought of the future, establishing a legacy for the future. This idea of it existing beyond us and into the future, to our several generations, to our children and beyond. This way of thinking and being on the planet, of using resources wisely and well. Again, not just for ourselves, but because we are all connected and future generations are relying on us to have a vision for the future and to be wise and intelligent about how we are interacting with this planet, with each other, so that we can leave a future that is more beautiful than the one that we've inherited. This is the energy in our present environment, this idea of mindfulness, this idea of protecting and caring for what is, and again, leaving it in better hands, doing it with love, this very high intention of a loving legacy for future generations. The near future card is the card of force. This is a card of cutting away the dead wood, of removing any obstacles in the path, being very deliberate with one's mind and one's action, being very intentional about cutting away the things that no longer serve us and moving forward powerfully, clearly, intentionally towards what it is that is wanted. We have to have the distinctions to know where our energy needs to go, and understanding past success, what has been victorious, what has been successful in our life, what is working in our world. How do we apply that success to this idea of legacy, to our future? And then how do we cut out all the garbage, all the nonsense, all the BS, all the story that doesn't serve, so that we can get clear and concise and to the point, and then know how to point our energy in a very deliberate and actionable manner to create powerfully into our collective future in a good way. The foundation card for this week, why we're having this reading, is all based on this energy of balance. So in this card, we have this individual standing here with a feather between two poles, and very much, it's very harmonious, there's beautiful colors in this card, but it's very much this idea of not going to extremes, of being in a state of harmony, of being in a state of balance, of coming to the center. We are living in highly polarized times, highly opinionated times. There's a definite polarity that's going on. How do we stay neutral? How do we stay in the center? How do we stay peaceful and balanced in the face of all of the division-generating energy that is out there? This is why we're having the reading this week, is all about this idea of balance, of transcending the duality, of staying in a neutral, resilient, adaptable, open-minded, open-hearted place. How we need to conduct ourselves is the next position. We have the card of change. Yes, well, I don't think we'd argue that too much. We do need to change. So how can we bring change into our immediate life? How can we bring this energy of change into our own experience? This is the Two of Pentacles. We have a couple of snakes here, and snakes, of course, represent dramatic change. They shed their skins and they become new. So we have this reminder of the shedding of the skin, of letting go of what no longer serves us, of past identity, of who we were that no longer serves us. We've had lots of time to reflect on this in the past year. Who am I and what's important? And it's time to shed this idea of cutting away that which no longer serves, just letting it go, releasing it. And possibly the transformation will be challenging because, well, that change is often an uncomfortable thing. But at the same time, it's incredibly liberating and freeing, and it gives us an opportunity to open to new possibilities and to being more of who we really want to be, of having more of what we really want in our experience. But we have to let go of the old to make room for the new. And how many of us are willing to do that? So how we need to conduct ourselves in the energy of this week to be facilitating this forward momentum collectively is we need to be open to profound change. I mean, a snake shedding its skin, that's got to be a pretty big deal for that snake. So how do we shed what no longer serves us? How do we release things from our field which no longer serve us? And how do we realign our energy in a way with what we believe in what we want? How are we taking action? Are we letting our leaders know what it is that we want? Are we making choices and decisions in our own lives that honor what it is that we believe? If we value the environment, are we using polluting chemicals in our laundry, in our house cleaning products, in our dishwashers? Are we trying to cut down on driving our cars? Are we trying to make choices that are more in alignment with the future of the planet, with life on this planet, with this idea of legacy for the future? Our individual choices impact the future. If each of us starts making different choices, we will change everything. But it starts with us. It starts with us being willing to make the changes. And it, the excitement and inspiration that can happen as a result of that, the freedom, the return of energy. When we've been hauling stuff around that isn't ours, or caught up in a divide, caught up in a perspective of polarity, it's so freeing to reclaim that energy, to reclaim it, and realizing we don't have to be on the duality train. We can step off, achieve a neutral space, and open ourselves up to releasing what no longer serves us, and being effectively an agent for change in our own experience, in our families, in our communities, and in the world. But, in tandem with last week, not by making anybody else wrong, but by moving forward in a way from a place of love, that our choices, our decisions, our neutrality, or jumping off the duality is coming from a place of transcendence and from love, from this place of love for the future, this place of what is good for the greater good, and making our decisions and our choices from there. Not making others wrong, but doing what's right for us in our own experience, because it aligns with our heart and our truth and what we know to be important. How others are going to be. We have this card of anxiety. So we have this man and woman, and they have come to a house. It's lit up. It's probably warm and sheltered. They're out in the cold in the night, and they've decided that something is not quite right about this. It doesn't feel right to go in there. So they've decided they're going to go on, that this solution or this destination is not what it appears to be, and that they need to keep going on their path in order to, there's just something deep within them that there's a conviction that they need to keep going. And so this is in the position how others are going to be. There's this dis-ease, this inability to just settle into the easiest solution. There's this perseverance with this card, this desire to find the best solution, motivated, no doubt, from this place of conscious legacy for the future. What are we leaving our children? How are we leaving the future? Are we motivated from greed and fear and doubt? Or are we motivated from love and life and life-giving principles, honoring life as it is and co-creating with it rather than dominating it and putting into place solutions that we as humans and our smallness as humans think are the right ones? So in the position of others, we're going to see that others are not satisfied with the status quo. They're not settling down with the solutions that were being given. Collectively, there's this decision to persevere, to move on, to not just settle, but to really come to proper solutions, to really work towards solutions that are for the greater good, that are truly in our best interest, that are worth it, that will take care of future generations and not just be a short-sighted bonanza for the few. So this is in the position of others. And because we are the others in other people's lives, there's this possibility that will be seen as we choose not to settle, as we choose to hold our high values, as we choose to be inspired by our love for the future, for this planet, for our children's children's children. As we think about this future, we too are motivated to create change in our own field and to live into this new possibility space. But it's really up to us. We have to be willing. I gave very three-dimensional examples here, but it's also an attitude. It's also a belief system. It's how we're looking at things. That's very important as well. The outcome that we're looking at here is the card of judgment, which was our card last week. It was a pretty important card. But this idea of transcending, being motivated from a place of discernment, not of making others wrong, because judgment implies that idea of making others wrong. Discernment, rather, is the distinction of this choice is appropriate or inappropriate for me. And I don't need to make anybody else wrong for their actions or their choices. They are self-responsible. They are an adult. They are capable of making their own decisions wisely for themselves, or perhaps not so wisely, depending on how they're being influenced. But when we are truly grounded and centered and existing in a place of connection to the wiser, broader part of us, we natively know what's appropriate for us in every moment, and we make the best choice from that space in every moment. It's not to mean that we don't make errors, because we do. We're human. We're here bumping around. And in the process of bumping around, we learn what we need, what's appropriate for us, what we want, what we don't want. And that's the energy of this card, is this stretching, this reaching for something higher, this reaching for a higher awareness, a higher way of being that is appropriate for us in this reality, and transcending this idea of having to be polarity, having to be on one end of the spectrum or another, making somebody wrong, making something wrong, but just recognizing that we are self-responsible. We, each of us, get to make choices in our now. We each get to choose, how are we being, and are we contributing to the future that we want to leave for the planet, for our children's children? Really thinking about our relationship to all that is, and how are we being in that relationship? Are we investing appropriately? Our life force, our energy, our resources? Are we building the future that we want, or are we continuing to finance the institutions and the structures that don't serve us? There's a lot of layers here. Our existence on this planet, we are all connected and we are making choices, and they have a larger impact. We need to become really mindful about how congruent are we? How are we living? And is it truly in alignment with what we're saying is important to us and what we're holding in our heart? We're being called to account here, to be living from that congruent space, that honoring space, that grounded, life-giving space. It's resilient, but it honors life and understands that we are part of life, but we're not here to dominate it. That's a big piece. So we have this energy of what has served us well, and letting that inform our vision for the future, our desire to take care of 7 generations hence. Many traditions hold this. Our choices today, making decisions from today, considering the future 7 generations from now. It's really profound, really profound. And it requires us to start thinking like this so that we are no longer short-sighted. It's no longer about the profit of the next, day or so. It's about how are we contributing together to a future that we believe in, that we are invested in from a heart space, from a loving space, from an honoring our place in the collective and what we can give to the collective as a legacy. The near future is this native cutting away, this capacity to see clearly and to cut through the nonsense, to cut through the garbage, and to start deliberately cutting away the things that no longer serve us. We may see this week some big things happening where clear decisions are made or distinctions are made that are really helpful for moving us more towards more life, more well-being, more capacity to be in harmony with the world and nature and moving our life forward rather than against it. Balance card, this foundation card, it applies to the whole reading. It's this idea of how do we step out of the polarity? How do we stay in balance? How do we stay resilient? How do we stay resourceful? This energy is super important because if we're being antagonistic or we're being reactive, we're not being proactive. We're stuck in a dance that doesn't serve anyone and keeps us disempowered. We need to reclaim our power. We need to step off the duality. We need to recognize that we each make the best choices that we make, whatever the motivations are in that moment, and keep moving forward towards this beautiful goal, this beautiful life that we hold for all of us. From our balanced state, making choices, making changes, being open to change, accepting the fact that things have to change. And how do we create this change in our life so that our world is more beautiful? Our immediate lives, our personal lives are more congruent, we're more harmonious, we're more at ease within our own skin. Those are the kinds of choices we want to be making. Not choices that take us away from our heart, but align us with our heart. How others are going to be, this persevering energy, this despite possible short-term solutions that are being offered. No, we're playing the long game. We are looking to a future harmonious and congruent with nature. We are going to implement changes that are in alignment with this. We are going to think about our children and our children's children. We are going to leave a legacy of health, of radiant well-being, of transforming the mess that we've made, finding solutions to the problems that we face. Out of this resilient space, we don't need to stand and make people wrong. What we need to do is move towards positive solutions. And that does mean us recognizing our connection to nature and reconnecting with this and co-creating with nature in a really positive way. Once again, not from a dominant perspective that nature is ours to pillage and to dominate, but from an understanding that we can be a part of nature and co-create with nature in a harmonious and compatible manner, because we are part of nature. And then the outcome, this reminding that we are transcending what was. We're reaching out of the darkness. We're reaching out of the limitation. We're reaching out of this, it's almost like a box of thought of how things are. And we're reaching up into the higher, clearer realms where there's more beauty, there's more love, there's more radiance, there's more well-being, there's more connection. You see the picture is very beautiful nature, mountains, hillsides. We're being called to rise up. We're being called to become more connected with all that is, and to live that more fully. And that doesn't come from a place of judgment or making others wrong. It comes from a place of going within and understanding our own truth and recognizing that each of us has our truth, and we're here to live it and to express it in beautiful ways. We can't force anybody else to live our truth. They have to live their own. And it's very important that we realize that. I think right now there's a lot of this trying to make people do the same thing with the hope that it's going to provide the solutions that we're seeking. And that's not the direction that's going to work for us. We really need to have the diversity of perspective and the diversity of solutions in order to come up with what we need to transform the world as we see it. So this is the spread for this week. I hope it is supportive of your best and awarenesses that you can make in your own experience to keep moving your life in good directions, harmonious directions, congruent directions, where you can be in harmony, you can be in alignment, you can be at peace, have even greater expression of all of your goodness all of the time, living a life that's in harmony, right action, right choices. So you never feel out of sorts, like you're having to compromise your dignity, your connection to source, your connection to wisdom, your connection to life. Are you choosing life, or are you choosing to compromise life? So important questions. All right, so what we're looking for now is a summary card, a card that will encapsulate all of the reading and help us to grasp it and understand it in one nugget, one recombining capitulation of all of the things that we've just talked about. Let's pull that all together. What is our card to grow on this week? What do we need to know to be our best and keep moving forward this week? This card of fulfillment. So the energy of fulfillment is one of deep well-being, deep satisfaction, of appreciation for what is, being at rest within oneself, being at peace within oneself, and radiating that in one's own field, but just being a clearing for that on the planet as well. So this is our card to grow on this week. How do we anchor fulfillment in our field? How do we be that energy of comfort, well-being, ease, love, flow, contentment? All of these words hold similar frequencies to the energy of fulfillment, this 9 of Hearts energy. This idea of intentionally basking in a field of good feelings so that we are intentionally pulling more of that towards us. And that's not only just for us personally, but collectively, that we are pulling more love and light onto this planet through our intention to be a clearing for that. This is our card to grow on this week as much as possible. Pull the energy of fulfillment towards you. Recognize the blessings that surround you. Bask in your appreciation and well-being, knowing that you are providing an anchor on the planet for more of this. So those who are suffering will be somewhat alleviated by your anchoring this in the field, the collective field of humanity, that you are easing another's suffering by holding this frequency, because we are all connected. And high frequency, love, light, compassion, gratitude are very, very helpful in shifting the lower vibrations of fear, of doubt, of confusion, of limitation, of anger. All of those things are helped when more of us can be in this space. That's, I believe, what the Buddha was teaching, is this sort of transcending and being in the state of wholeness, of connection. Different names for it, but ultimately, I believe this is sort of the gist of what was being offered with that. So this week, find your fulfillment. Be Be at ease in your life. Be at ease within yourself. Seek to feel that feeling and know that you are being of service when you do this. The reading is at an end for this week. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I want to thank each and every one of you for the good energy that you're holding, your intention to be a clearing for balance and love on this planet. You're striving to become a more congruent and balanced and resilient self, having more of your wiser self present in your field, transforming you, transforming your biology, transforming your contribution on the planet, inspiring you with wonderful ideas and solutions for how you can manifest your congruence and experience on the planet, how you can hold that frequency of fulfillment, satisfaction, well-being, so that we all benefit. I want to thank each and every one of you who's on this journey with me. Thank you for being on the journey. Thank you. It's not always easy, I know it, but you're doing it. And thank you for that profound service. Creator, this is your daughter Titania. The reading for this week is at an end. I ask that you be with all of us. Help us to anchor that deep fulfillment into our field so that we can be a clearing for that energy on the planet, that we can offer that good energy to those who may be suffering, that they too may find some ease, some comfort, some resilience from those who are holding it in our collective field. We are all one, and our well-being is a gift to those who are suffering. Help us to hold this for each other and to transform our collective towards a legacy of beauty, of love, of harmony, of congruence within ourselves, with each other, with all other life on this planet, and with this beautiful planet in and of herself. Help us to become stewards of integrity, stewards of wisdom, stewards of peace, stewards of love. Humbly and reverently honoring our beautiful planet and taking good care of her. I know the solutions that we seek are within us. Help us to remember this even when we feel hopeless in the face of the stories we're given. We can do this transformation. And it starts with us making small choices towards good energy and good choices and congruence in our own field. The reading is at an end. Thank you to all of those who are helping to hold this space this week. Onward and upward, my friends. I'll see you next Friday. Bye for now.